Heart disease remains the leading cause of death among Filipinos, accounting for 1 out of every 5 deaths. The NSO said that heart disease was cited as the cause of 100,908 deaths, or 21% of the 480,820 deaths reported from January 2009 to December 2010. Also, it's very alarming that according to the Philippine Heart Association, or the PHA, more young people are suffering from cardiovascular disease due to unhealthy lifestyle habits in the workplace. Heart disease is a general term that refers to any disease or condition of the heart, including coronary heart disease, hypertension, heart failure, congenital heart disease, disorder of the heart valves, heart infections, heart muscle disease, and abnormal heart rate. Pinoy's love for fatty foods, alcoholic drinks, smoking tobacco increases the chance of having a heart attack. How can we protect ourselves and our family from this?
Good evening. This program aims to find solutions to your medical queries. It seeks answers to common health problems that have been hounding you. We will help you out in finding answers to your medical concerns. I'm Angel Jacob, and this is MedTalk, your weekly on-air health consultation here on Solar News Channel. It has been said that a heart attack is the #1 killer disease in the Philippines today. Let's find out how you can spot the first signs of a heart attack, the risk factors, and how to avoid this dreaded disease. Joining us tonight are Dr. Ranulfo B. Havelosa Jr., Chief of the Preventive Cardiology Division of the Philippine Heart Center. Also with us is Dr. Antonio Cibulo, former Director of the St. Luke's Heart Institute and former President of the Philippine Heart Association. Also joining us is Dr. Saturnino Javier, the current President of the Philippine Heart Association. You can participate in our discussion tonight by calling our hotline at 548-4688 or follow us on Twitter at CAMedTalk or email us at medtalk.solarca@gmail.com. Let's start our discussion. Dr. Cibulo, well, good evening,
good evening,
everyone.
Good evening.
Dr. Cibulo, can you please tell us the different types of a heart attack?
Yeah, actually, you're asking about the classification of a heart attack,
yes,
which we refer to as a acute coronary syndrome, or ACS. There are many ways of classifying it, but clinically, we classify it as either as a non-STEMI, a STEMI MI, or a non-STEMI MI.
What's the difference?
Okay, the difference between the STEMI MI and the non-STEMI MI, it's actually an ECG waveform morphology differentiation.
Okay.
But the common thing about the two is that your so-called biomarkers are released in the bloodstream. Okay. So when there's muscle necrosis in the heart muscle, these so-called biomarkers are increased in levels. So when you take a blood examination, that will support the diagnosis of a heart attack. Mm-hmm. And the third one is unstable angina, mm-hmm, wherein you may or may not have ECG evidences for abnormality or, shall we say, biomarker elevation, mm-hmm, but clinically it presents as a new onset chest pain or somebody with chronic, mm-hmm, chest pain or angina who suddenly becomes more or increase in intensity or increase in frequency of chest pain, mm-hmm, wherein the chest pain are easily provocable. So in general, these are the 3 classifications of acute coronary syndrome.
Thank you, Doc. How about the symptoms, Dr. Javier? You also mentioned chest pain. Is this the only symptom, or are there different levels or intensities of one suffering from a heart attack?
That's a very important question, Angel, because I think our televiewers should understand that the most common manifestation really is chest pain. And the chest pain can come in various presentations. Some of them will describe it as squeezing or heaviness on the chest. Some will present with very vague chest discomfort. Even more sometimes, what they may have is like stomach pains, presenting also as heart attack or heart disease manifestations. The other symptoms are shortness of breath or difficulty of breathing. Some of them can present with palpitations. Some of them can lose consciousness. But having said those, Angel, I think it's also important to emphasize that there are heart attacks that may not present with any symptom at all. No? We call it the quiet or the silent types, and the only time they can be picked up is through an ECG tracing in a doctor's or a cardiologist's clinic.
What usually happens to our heart when our arteries are clogged or when one is already suffering from a heart attack?
Yes, the heart is a muscular organ, beats more than 100,000 times a day, and it is supplied by blood vessels called coronary arteries. And if one or more of these coronary arteries gets blocked, then the muscle cannot do its function, and the heart will develop ischemia and then necrosis. It will die, and you have a heart attack. And the symptoms were explained by our two doctors. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens slowly, but the actual heart attack would be a total occlusion of one of these arteries.
The arteries.
If you have deposition of fats and other debris there, and suddenly there's a increase in the blockage and gets total occlusion, then you have a heart attack.
Because of this discussion, because of talking about it more, we'd also like to inform everyone and ask the doctors as well, what are the risk factors involved when one does suffer from a heart attack?
Yes. When you talk about risk factors, they have been studied many times, which predisposes one to develop cardiovascular disease or coronary heart disease. And we can classify them into major and minor risk factors. And the major risk factors are smoking, high cholesterol, hypertension, and diabetes. So if you have 4 risk factors present, that practically multiplies your risk factor much more. If you only have 1, then you're better off.
And well, this discussion is just heating up. When we come back, we will be joined by someone who actually experienced a heart attack. You can participate in the discussion by calling our hotline at 548-4688, or you can follow us on Twitter at CA MedTalk, or email us at medtalk.solarca@gmail.com. MedTalk will be right back.
Every year, your heart beats approximately 35 million times. That is 100,000 beats per day and 70 beats per minute. Over the course of a lifetime, that adds up to an average of 2.5 billion heartbeats. Sudden stabbing pain in the chest, cold sweat, and difficulty in breathing. Len Nazario, 43, had a completely unexpected heart attack 2 months ago. Len won't forget that day when she joined the club of millions of men and women suffering from heart disease. Statistics show that each year, more than 1 million men and women had a heart attack, and nearly half died because they didn't get to the hospital on time. According to Len, upon her arrival at the hospital, several tests and procedures were done. The tests revealed that a blood clot in her coronary artery was stopping the flow of blood to the part of her heart muscle. To open narrow or blocked artery and to also restore blood flow to the heart muscle, Len was required to undergo coronary angioplasty procedure. After the procedure, Len was wheeled to the critical care unit to be monitored. Len almost died and had no inkling as to what quality of life awaited her. There was damage to her heart. How much? She had no problem accepting that there was a lot to shed of her earlier life if she had to make a go of a new one. In the months that followed, Len changed her ways. She found means to eat no less splendidly but more wisely. She said bye-bye to beef, pork, and butter, and was creative in finding ways to replace many favorite recipes with poultry, fish, and olive oil. Len's path is certain to be different, necessarily more watchful, rising each morning to the hum of the blood pressure monitor. The ritual stepping onto the scales, remembering to take her morning medication, and the awareness that each day is a responsibility and possibly, hopefully, a reward.
We're back on MedTalk. Still joining us are our veteran cardiologists who can answer all your questions on heart ailment. We also have with us Ms. Len Nazario, who actually went through a critical stage in her life when she suffered a heart attack. Hi Len, thank you for joining us. How are you feeling?
I'm okay right now. It's been 2 months since the angioplasty that happened to me.
Can you give us a brief background of what your lifestyle was? Your eating habits, exercise?
I eat a lot, but I don't exercise. I used to do household chores, but then when I had this house help, I did not do any household chores anymore. So the exercise factor is not there anymore.
Can you say about that?
One thing I noticed already, Angel, is that comparing Len of today to the VTR, she has already lost significant weight. So she's doing things successfully, I believe.
I believe so. I hope so. Before I had this angioplasty, my weight was around 171 pounds. After the angioplasty, it's down to 150 pounds. I lost around 20.
It seems that Len actually did not suffer a heart attack, but there was an impending heart attack because, as you mentioned, the ECG showed an SC segment depression. And she was practically asymptomatic. She wasn't feeling anything. So at least they have saved the muscle. And it's very important that in coronary heart disease that you save the muscle from suffering a heart attack, because once it goes into a heart attack, it becomes fibrosed, peclab. So, Len, there's still life after a heart attack. You mentioned a while back that you've stopped doing more active, becoming more active. And
when I had a house help, I stopped doing the household chores. But right now, during my confinement at Cardinal Santos, I undergo the cardiac rehab.
Good.
And then I continued it after the confinement. Right now, I'm into low-fat, low-salt diet. And I do 4 times a week walking in the cardiac rehab.
Thank you, Len, for sharing with us your story and continued healthy lifestyle that you've started.
Thank you also.
Thank you. For our on-air consultation, we've received some tweets from our followers. Chito Garcia asks, Doctors, is a heart ailment hereditary?
Well, it's a very, very important question, Angel. There's really truth to the fact that when someone in the family has had heart disease, the other members are likewise predisposed. I was just talking to Len a while ago. She mentioned to me, in fact, that her father had a heart disease at the age of 60, right, Len? So, that being said, and then she admitted being a smoker, a lot of stress, overweight before. So everything was ripe to develop a cardiac condition. And she had the genetic programming or predisposition to develop it. It was just accelerated by all the stressful situations she's been in.
Thank you, Doctor. Another one from Cheska Santos. Doctors, how long does a heart attack normally last?
Well, a typical heart attack would last maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, at most an hour. And after that, there will be complications that would set in. It could affect the rhythm, the pump action of the heart, and it can lead to serious complications like heart failure and death.
Next, we have Ms. Sherilyn Cruz on the line. Hi, Sherilyn.
Hi, Angel. Good evening, doctor. I would just like to ask, does taking birth control pills increase the chance of having heart disease?
This issue has really haunted clinicians on hormones in women. We know for a fact that women suffer less cardiovascular disease compared to men. Birth control pills, okay, there have been no studies to implicate increased risk for developing heart attacks in women.
Okay.
But there have been studies to show that you can increase risk for venous thromboembolism, meaning pulmonary embolism, blood clots forming in the veins going to the lungs. So in short, if you're going to receive HRT, it should be a gynecological indication.
Okay. Sherilyn, are you still on the line?
Yes.
Okay, I hope Dr. Cibulo was able to answer your question.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you too for calling. That was a lot of useful information right there. Thank you, Len, for sharing with us your experience. I know our viewers learned so much from it. Up next, we will be giving you tips on how to prevent a heart attack. MedTalk will be right back only here on the Solar News Channel.
Taking care of your teeth can have a dramatic impact on heart health. If you develop gum disease, your chance of having a heart attack or stroke increases by 50%. Early detection of heart disease can save lives. To diagnose the condition, patients may be asked to undergo medical tests and procedure. ECG or electrocardiogram is the most common medical procedure to look for any signs of coronary artery disease. This test records the electrical activity of your heart through electrodes attached to your skin. Impulses are recorded as waves and are displayed on a monitor or printed paper. This test helps your doctor diagnose heart rhythm problems and damage to your heart from a heart attack that may be underlying heart failure. 2D echo or echocardiogram is a test that helps determine heart disease by using sound waves to produce a video image of your heart. This image can help doctors determine how well your heart is pumping by measuring the percentage of blood pumped out of your heart's main pumping chamber. The echocardiogram can also look for valve problems or evidence of previous heart attacks, as well as some unusual causes of heart failure. Also used to diagnose heart problems is the stress test. The procedure makes you walk on a treadmill or pedal a stationary bike while attached to an ECG machine. This is to measure how your heart and blood vessels respond to exertion or stress. Stress tests help doctors see if you have coronary artery disease. Stress tests also determine how well your body is responding to your heart's decreased pumping effectiveness.
You're still on MedTalk. Sabi nga sa VTR, early detection of a heart disease can save lives. Now we'll answer some tweets from our followers. Our first tweet comes from Linda Javier. She asks, doctors, does eating more carbs increase the chance of one having a heart attack?
Well, eating high carbohydrate diet would increase the blood sugar, and that would predispose to diabetes. And diabetes is a major risk factor for heart disease and may lead to heart attack eventually. And the weight will increase. That will also be another risk factor. The blood pressure and other hormones in the body can be activated with a high carb diet and can lead to changes in the blood vessels and the heart also.
Let me also add, Angel,
Yes,
that
please.
you may eat more carbs, okay, but if you exercise regularly and heavily, you may still be able to burn the calories that you took in from the excess carbohydrates. So that becomes fuel for your exercise program or exercise activity. So I think the equation that must be respected is the balance between what you eat and what you burn out.
One way of checking it is looking into your triglycerides and your HDL, and too much caloric intake can increase your triglycerides. And that's telling you that indeed you're eating too much.
Doctors, we have another one from Jovit Umang. He asks, I have undergone heart surgery. How long will it take before I can go back to work?
6 weeks. That's as we enroll into cardiac rehabilitation,
Yes.
on the third day, fourth day, they start to ambulate, progressively increasing their activity. And once you are discharged in 5 to 7 days, it should be a rapid phase of going back to mainstream society.
Okay.
And with a normal patient, usually 6 weeks, or sometimes at 8 weeks, they're back to their work.
Another one from our follower, Angela Nakpil. She asks, is it normal to experience hyperacidity when taking maintenance medicine for heart disease?
There are
Javier?
some medicines that can cause hyperacidity, like for example, aspirin. That's notorious for causing hyperacidity. But there are other medicines for cholesterol lowering that may contribute, but not primarily cause hyperacidity. But I think the number one thing that we usually search for if they complain of so much acid is aspirin. If aspirin is not there, then there should be nothing to cause excessive hyperacidity.
Thank you, Doctor. We have another caller on the line, Lara Almario. Hi, Lara. Good evening.
Hi. Miss Angel, I would just like to ask, what types of exercise are safe for people who have undergone heart procedures such as angioplasty?
Okay. Thanks for your question, Lara. Doctors?
Actually, angioplasty, they recover better, much faster, compared to bypass surgery. Obviously, because they don't have what you call a sternotomy wound. So usually in a few days' time or 1 or 2 weeks, they are back to their usual activity. The type of exercise would be similar to somebody who has not gone through angioplasty, meaning aerobic and isometric exercises are fine, and it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. So, Lara, I hope Dr. Cignal was able to answer your question.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you too for calling. Doctors, we've already differentiated cardiac arrest from a heart attack. Now, what is the difference between a stroke and a heart attack?
Well, heart attack is clogging of the arteries in the heart. A stroke is the similar process in the brain. It's a brain attack. So these two are different. A heart attack involves the heart. A stroke involves the brain. It's the equivalent of heart attack in the brain. So we call it now a brain attack.
Yes. Any last message to all our viewers? Let's start with Dr. Javier.
Well, I would just like to thank you, Angel, and the show for giving us the opportunity to expound on a very important subject matter, and we hope that the televiewers were able to learn much from this and be able to adopt a healthy lifestyle after this. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Dr. Cignal?
Let me just say that whatever you do early in life would exact its toll in your late life. So you're actually what you eat.
Okay. Now I'm thinking of what I just ate. Dr. Abelosa?
Yeah, and if you already had a heart attack or a stroke or surgery or angioplasty, it's not too late. You can start all over again, rebuild your life, change your lifestyle, exercise more, eat less, and relax, enjoy it. And there's still life after a heart attack.
And visit your doctor regularly.
So you don't get a second one.
No. Treat the first one so that the second, the third, they don't happen again. Thank you very much, Dr. Abelosa, Dr. Cignal, and Dr. Javier.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. On that note, we'd like to thank our guests for helping us understand the symptoms, effects, on how to prevent one from having a heart attack. Cardiologists Dr. Ranulfo B. Javelosa Jr., Dr. Saturnino Javier, and Dr. Antonio Cignal, again, thank you very much for the very informative discussion. You've heard from the experts. With a proper diet, exercise, a change in lifestyle, and regular checkups with your doctor, it can decrease the chances of having a heart attack. That's all we have for tonight. We'll see you again next Tuesday on MedTalk, 10 p.m. on your scheduled on-air consultation on Solar News Channel. This is Angel Jacob. Good night.